This is episode number, wait for it, 100 of the Homeowners Show. Whether you're DIY or looking to hire, we're here to help you find the best information and options for you and your home. My name is Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Craig Williams.
Kevin, my man. Cheers, bro.
Cheers.
Bring it in.
We made it.
Whew, it is. I feel like I'm sliding into home here.
Man, I tell you what, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, when you and I started this thing, sitting at Deacon Baldis, talking about what this thing could be,
Which is unjustly closed at the moment.
yeah, they close. Okay, so those of you who don't live around here, Deacon Baldis is a food truck park, but the Deacon Baldis side of it is a bar, and since they don't sell food,
They shut them down.
they shut them down.
So we're here for you, deacons.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, we're sitting there and we're trying to figure out, okay, what are we gonna do? Is this something viable?
Yeah.
And we were kind of like, let's just give it a shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's it going to hurt? Worst thing that could happen is no one listened.
Which was a very viable option.
Yeah, it was for everyone.
Yeah, for everyone. Well, I'll put it this way. I don't think my wife has listened to a single episode.
Yet.
Yet.
All right. That means we can talk about her all we want.
Oh, absolutely. Your wife's actually listened to one episode, I know.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, she sneaks in every once. I think she just wants to make sure I'm behaving. Which let's just be honest. I mean, like that is a thankless job right there.
Oh, well, she's not going to get the result she wants.
No.
So,
No.
but yeah, so man, 100 episodes. I tell you, that's just 4 shy of 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
We'll do a little victory lap on that one too.
yeah, I think so too. But one of the things I want everyone to know is with this being our 100th episode, we put out there on Facebook and Instagram and stuff that if you were to have gone and subscribed to our YouTube channel, which we're trying to kind of build up a little bit,
Yeah.
doing a lot better with that. But if you go ahead and subscribe, that we would put your name into a drawing for $100.
Yep. I want to send you some money.
That's exactly right, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna randomly
We have the list that I'm not going to show you. There's several pages of it here of people that subscribed, and we have a fair random number generator that's going to give us the winner at the end of the show. So hang in there. Don't worry, this isn't going to be a long one. We're just here to party and celebrate 100ness.
Yeah, that's right. I just want to spend some time talking through 100 like that. I was talking to my brother on the way over here, and he was like, seriously, 100? I was like, I know.
Yeah, I tell people that now, and they're like, dang, how long have you been doing this? And I'm like, well, it's just 2 years. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's not a long time to do something. Let's be honest.
Well, it's not, except for something that people expect you to fail at.
That and well, it's difficult to do something consistently for 2 years. You know what I mean? Like some things you can do for 2 years without trying. Like you can be a parent for 2 years without trying. Like because the kid exists.
Right.
So you're not going to stop being a parent. But like if you go to the gym like every Wednesday for 2 years, that's somewhat of an accomplishment.
Sure.
You're probably not going to get great results, but you went to the gym every Wednesday for 2 years.
Right.
That's consistency.
Sure.
I mean, that's showing up.
Right.
And so it is. I mean, like not to pat our own backs or anything like that, but like it's hard to do something that long. Consistently.
Yeah. I remember. I don't know. It was probably episode number 15, 16, somewhere around in there. And I was telling my wife, "Hey, I'm headed over to Craig's house. We got a podcast tonight." And she was like, "Y'all are still doing that?"
I thought this was just a fad.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said. I was like, "What do you mean you're still doing that?" She was like, "I thought you'd get like 5 episodes in and decide you didn't really want to do it anymore."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, we still enjoy doing it."
That probably says more about what she thinks about me than what she thinks about you. I think Craig would have pissed you off by now.
I just think she thinks I'm a quitter.
Oh,
so
well.
maybe there's that.
So showed her.
I'm not a quitter because you think I'm a quitter.
That's right.
So I am not a quitter.
I'm not. I'm gonna make you quit thinking that about me.
That's right. That's right. Well, so I mean, obviously there are things that I think we've definitely accomplished.
Yeah.
And I think that there's some things that, looking back, we've gone, okay, we had to change this, we had to change that, things that we've, learned along the way.
We've definitely we've done the Ross pivot.
Pivot.
We've made many turns on the stairs.
Yes, we have. Yeah, so I'm curious. What are some things in your mind that have either not gone the way we expected them to, or just things that we've gone, okay, we've got to change that?
Yeah, I mean, like from when we got started, I mean, we were basically in my living room.
Yeah.
We were in my living room.
Yep.
Recording the show, and if you go back and we even had like some old YouTube videos up from when we were doing the show in there. And I didn't really. When we got started, I never really saw a need to get out of that space.
Yeah.
And to kind of have a spot that was just our own, because in my mind, it was like, this is so simple.
Yeah.
It's just going to be easy. But like, being in the house and doing it in the evenings, we were, having to negotiate, my family and their schedule and all these kinds of things. And so, making the transition out here now to where we have like our own space, our own studio, to bring in guests, so it's not like that awkward, like, hey, I'm going to bed, and people like passing by in the video in the background.
Which we literally had multiple times. Like your wife was like sneaking back to like get to the bedroom. We're like, we can see, you're totally in the shot. Like we can see every bit of your sneakiness.
It's like you can do this move all you want. We all see you.
That's right. Yeah.
So I mean, just. From when we started, in my brain, it was like, this is so simple. We can do it like this. This is no big deal. And it didn't ever really become a big deal, but it just made it so much smoother and easier to have a space where guests could just come to.
Yeah.
And I think that's really helped the quality of the show. I mean, even though like we've just got a few finishing touches to do in here to finish the room off, I mean, it's pretty much done.
Pretty much done.
For all argument's sake, it's a fully functional room with air conditioning and noise cancellation, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
Even though occasionally you hear the dogs chasing wildlife,
or the horses that are hungry.
Every once in a while they'll come stick their nose in that window right there.
Yes, they will.
And just let us know, like, hey,
I'm here.
we're hungry out here.
Don't forget me.
But I mean, that was a big shift, I think.
Yeah.
So, and then we also learned a lot doing our first live show out at the Thistle.
Yeah.
One, we learned that you don't use the studio mics for a live show.
No.
That's bad.
If you were to go back and listen to any of those episodes, good luck. Because I don't really think you can hear anything.
Well, not on that one particular.
Yeah.
So, and I think, and like our whole audio situation has changed over the course of 2 years too.
Yeah.
We've upgraded our gear and changed platforms a couple of times.
Yep.
So there's a big learning curve there. I mean, I tell people all the time when I meet them that, like, hey, you probably ought to start a podcast. And I've probably dogged Tanya Manley about that several times. I mean, she would be a great podcast host. She would have a lot of fun stories to tell. But you just kind of got to get started and just do it.
Right.
And that's the hardest part.
Oh, it absolutely is a couple of things. I was listening to Unlocking the Magic. You remember our friends Bruce and Connie that were on the show way.
It's one of my favorite. Like we got so jazzed about having them on. That was a big deal for us.
It was a huge deal for us.
It still is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And just today I was listening to their latest podcast and Bruce was kind of talking about, if I tell people all the time, like, if you want to go start a podcast, but don't just do it because other people are doing it or because, you think, oh, someone's doing this about that. Maybe I could do that as well. It's just find the thing that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And talk about it. And if you enjoy talking about something enough, people are going to listen. And I think that's one of the things that over the time I've really valued is spending time here in the studio, just talking about homes.
Yeah.
And talking about the businesses that surround doing things around your home and stuff. And, and I think to begin with, I didn't really know how that was going to work, because as we started talking about it, it was like, okay, who are we going to get? Like, we know this person, we know that person, we know that person. Now it's like we got people contacting us saying,
can I
be on your show? And so I think that's one of the things that's kind of changed for us, is this kind of a known quantity sort of that's a big deal. And we don't necessarily feel like a big deal, but it's
at all.
At all. But it's grown. And part of that is, you talked about upgrading our gear. We found more old iPhones.
Yeah.
Because we've gone through all kinds of iterations of trying to figure out how we're going to do video.
Yeah.
Because people are saying that video is, the new radio.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
And so, well, there was a song about that a long time ago.
Well, you got to think, when you start having platforms like Spotify, who have been an audio only company now for a long, long, long time, are now making the move over to adding video to their platform.
Right.
And part of that is because Rogan's moving over there.
Oh yeah.
And he's got to have video in order to make his platform work.
Right.
It's not to say that it wouldn't work if it was just audio, but like, they're doing it because he's coming over. And it's going to open them up to other shows wanting to put their content on their platform.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as video is available, we're going to be putting our content on Spotify.
Sure.
I mean, if we're allowed to, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and so there's not just that either. There's other platforms that are saying like, okay, we're going to start adding video as a viable, uploadable content management system for our platform. You just got to, part of this game, and you don't want to like bend to the trends.
Yeah.
But like, that's not really a trend as much as it is like, this is another avenue through which you can get your content into the hands of the audience that you want listening to your stuff.
Sure.
And our platform just happens to be people that live in homes. It's a pretty big platform.
It is. Yeah, and I think that there are going to be people that listen to podcasts and they're like, listen, in order for me to listen to that, it's going to be whenever I'm not around this, that, or the other. So maybe I'm going to listen to it in my vehicle as I'm driving back and forth to work, or maybe in a way that I can't watch video.
Right.
And then there are going to be other people that are like, man, if I'm going to listen to it, I got to watch it. And so,
which, by the way, I mean, if we learned anything about during this coronavirus deal, is that commuters are a huge portion of our audience.
Oh, they absolutely are.
So, I mean, like, thank you, commuters.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys tuning in.
Right.
Well, hopefully you can all get back to that good old commute back to the office. And
right. So speaking of that, let's take I'm curious. I mean, you're driving a lot.
Me?
You're out driving a lot.
All day.
Have you noticed that traffic is less right now, or that it's about the same?
It depends.
Okay. On what?
One, on where I'm at.
Okay.
That's a big factor, because I mean, and not to get into like local speak too much, but like there's a big difference between driving on 2920 and 1960.
1960 is always just a bear.
And so for those of you that don't know, there's like, Texas has these weird like farm to market road systems. And so like there's FM 1960, there's FM 2920, and I don't think 105 is an FM road.
No, it's a highway.
It's a highway.
Yeah.
But it runs kind of like those other two.
FM 1488.
So
there's others, yeah.
So if you can just envision this in your mind, 105 is probably the furthest northern highway. In between 105 and 2920 is 99, and then 2920, and then just south of that is 1960. These are like basically the main thoroughfares, and so as you progressively move further south, which is closer to the metroplex of Houston, the traffic intensifies.
Right.
So, except the only what's the word I'm looking for here? Can't think of it.
I got nothing.
Exception. The only exception to that would be in the afternoons at 2920.
Okay.
when there's not coronavirus.
Okay.
Because that's where everybody lives.
Yeah, it's more of a residential type
And
of
so, like,
thoroughfare.
Starting at about 3:30 on a normal day, 29:20 is just unbearable.
Okay.
Whereas 1960 might be moving as, part of the course.
Okay.
But right now, like, I was just down on 1960 today, and like, even though I was over by the mall down there, like, it felt like any normal day.
Okay. Well, I had to drive into Houston, and really it was like Sugar Land area, but from where I live, it's like a good hour and 20 minutes or so.
Which is not a long drive in Houston, y'all.
No, it's not. So an hour and 20 minutes, and I checked it the night before, and I'm like, okay, from my house, I mean, it's like 11 o'clock. It says an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm thinking it's going to be an hour and 45, right?
Right.
So I get up the next morning, check, hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
And it was mostly highway, like mostly interstate, actually. And, man, I didn't slow down once.
Really?
And it was in the morning. I left at like 8 o'clock.
Okay, so that's unusual.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for non-corona
Right.
times.
It's definitely unusual. So, and maybe it's that's highway only versus some of the more residential business streets, I don't know. Maybe that's a difference. But anyway, I think that video it's one of the things we've wanted to do well from the beginning.
Yeah.
And we just continued to have problem after problem after problem.
Well,
And
let me just explain this to everybody real quick. So what we were trying to do at the beginning is basically record multiple video sources on separate, devices.
Yeah.
And the problem we were running into is the videos were like 8 to 12 gigs a piece.
Right.
And so, like, uploading 4 or 5 of those to like one source, good luck.
Yeah, and so you got to upload them all, and then you got to import them all into we use Adobe Premiere. So importing them all in there and then cutting them all up, I mean, it
took forever.
It took hours and hours to do that. And it was one of those things that, frankly, I got to the point where I was like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
A lot of times we were having these problems where our devices would run out of storage space or they would die. And so, some sources we would have full, and then other sources we would have like, barely any actual video on there. And so we just had problem after problem after problem. But we have finally found something that has really worked well for us. And so hopefully if you've not ventured over to our YouTube channel, please do, because I think you'll find there's a lot of content. It's not just our shows. Like, we're cutting up different things. Like, we just put up a review of that power nailer.
The Ryobi 18 gauge brad nailer.
Yeah, and so stuff like that. We're gonna hopefully be kind of utilizing that a little bit more. So if you've not ventured over there, you ought to take a hop over to YouTube, go to the Homeowners Show, and find us.
Well, not only that, I mean, like, part of the advantage of YouTube is we can cut up the video and put out clips of the previous week's show. And so, like, if you don't necessarily have time to, sit and listen to like an hour interview with, one of our professionals or experts, you can go grab some of what we thought were the highlights of that week, and you can digest those in like 2 to 7 minutes,
right?
Clips,
right?
Which anybody can just turn on that on. You can listen to YouTube in the car. Which by the way, man, do you know about like the subscription service to YouTube now?
Yeah,
where like you can listen to the audio without the video.
Yes.
Sneaky dudes.
I know, and like if you want to be in your car and just listen to it, you can't turn your screen off.
Right.
If you turn your screen off, it shuts down.
Yep.
So you have to be plugged in, otherwise you're going to drain your battery.
Yeah.
And
because it's a double battery drain, because you got the screen on and you're probably synced up via Bluetooth.
Right. And on top of that, it's just unsafe to drive around with a video because your eyes are drawn to it. Right. And so the only way you can get the audio only is if you pay for the subscription. Those little jerks.
I'll tell you what I do is I just put it face down.
Yeah, that works.
I mean, because I'm not paying for that.
No, I'm not either.
I did like the free trial one time, mostly because I wanted to watch the Karate Kid series on YouTube.
Worth it.
Which is awesome. It's like, I think if they're like fixing to hit season 3 of Cobra Kai.
Oh man,
I haven't watched season 2.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of them.
Dude.
I need to.
Are you a Karate Kid fan when you were a kid?
Yes.
So like how far, like because here's the deal. Like this is not Homeowners Show business, this is fine. So like I was good up through Karate Kid Part 3.
Okay.
But like when the next Karate Kid, I jumped off the wagon.
I didn't even watch it.
Okay.
Because I heard so many poor things about it that I
didn't
was
watch it either.
I'm out.
So I'm not dogging on Hilary Swank. I'm sure she was fine.
Oh.
But like I'm just not interested.
Yeah, and I didn't even watch the remake.
Okay.
I probably should. But
let me speak up for the remake.
Okay.
It was good.
Okay.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, you can't go wrong with him. And you got Will Smith's kid.
What's his name?
I don't remember. Will Smith.
What's the little Will Smith?
The little one. Jada's boy. I don't know.
Jaden. Isn't it Jaden?
I think you're right. I think it is Jaden.
Anyway, it's a little bit older now.
Well, yeah, maybe what, like 5 years old?
Something like
not
that.
That old. But it's
oldish.
oldish.
I think he's close to like 20 years old or something like that now.
What?
Yeah, dude, we're old.
Will Smith was the man when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
And now he's older than we are.
Well, that was bound to happen.
I mean, he's kind of always been older than we are, if you think about it.
Yeah. The math works out there.
That's right. All right, let me ask you this question. So, what do you think are some things that we've done over the last 100 episodes?
I think we've done a real good job of bringing in a wide variety of guests.
Yeah.
And even though it's been a wide variety, everyone has been able to speak well into their field of expertise.
Yeah, and we've even had some that are relatively young.
Yes.
In their field. I mean, some guys and gals that have been, maybe less than a year into their field. But they've gone through the training. I mean, they've gotten their licenses. They've done the testing that they need to do in order to get their licenses and their certifications. And they've been able to provide us with some really good information. And then we've got other people that we brought on that have been doing it for years and years,
Yeah. And I think it's something that might be helpful for people to understand is like, we're not just like yanking Joe Schmo off the street either.
Right.
I mean, like it usually, and I don't even know if I've talked to you about this, Kev, but like it usually takes me about 2 to 3 months to like get someone on the show. Not because like they're so busy or anything like that, but like I don't want to invite anybody on here that I haven't had a good conversation with, that I haven't seen the end result of some of their work, that I've gone through some of their customer reviews, that I've vetted them.
Yeah.
And like we're probably not vetting like as thoroughly as some other shows.
Yeah.
But like I think on average it takes us about 3 months to get a guest from meet to in front of a microphone.
Sure.
Before we feel comfortable about bringing them into the studio.
Yeah, I mean,
there's been a few exceptions just because of them being like a known quantity. Like Bruce and Connie. I mean, like,
oh yeah,
we knew them from their show. They'd been
Speaks for themselves.
Yeah, they've been doing their podcast for years by the time we invited them on, and so like they were a known entity.
Yeah,
and it didn't take long. But I think even from like the time that we made contact with them to the time that we had them on the show, it was like a month.
Sure. Yeah, and one of the things you mentioned was a wide variety, and I think that's something that's been good. It's not like we've had 14 electricians on the show and 23 plumbers. I think we've had one electrician show.
Yeah, one.
And one
New Builds Electric with Courtney and Weston.
Yeah, they're the only ones. And
were you here for that one, or is that just me?
No, I was here for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I was here for that one. But like, when it comes to plumbing, like we've had Burke Family Plumbing, and we had JC's Leak Detection, which they're kind of their own form of plumbing.
Yeah, they're not technically a plumber, but they deal with plumbing issues.
Right. But beyond that, we really haven't had tons of plumbers.
Yeah.
And so when you think back through 100 episodes and you think we've only had one electrician and one plumber, like that's That
seems crazy.
It really does seem crazy, and I think one of the things it does, and I think one of the things that's exciting for our listeners, I hope, is you're sitting out there is going, man, there's a lot more content that we have, and I think that's one of the things early on we were like, I mean, I think we got a dozen shows. I think we got a dozen ideas,
a dozen solid shows.
Yeah, and here we are a lot later. We got so many options.
Well, I mean, going back from when we started, like after you and I kind of decided, like, yep, here's the starting date, here's when we're going to do it. I kind of went through and made a list, and I made a list of topics, and then I tried to align them with people, and I think I had like 40.
Okay.
But here's the thing, is like once the show got rolling, I think we did maybe 15 of those.
Oh, so they wound up changing.
They went, yeah, big time.
Yeah,
big time. And I probably need to go back and find that list.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's probably some good ideas on there that we just never did.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, because kind of once you get rolling, I mean, like you kind of roll with the flow of, the seasons and what's going on. I mean, like, because like we try and do things seasonally if we can.
Sure.
But it became evident really, really quick that like this was a deep well.
And I guess that's my point. I mean, we had a guy that's a full-time RVer on, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, when you think about Homeowners Show, that's probably not the first thing that pops into your mind. It's not the first thing that pops into my mind, but to hear his transition from being a homeowner to full-time RV and what that looks like.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of stuff to consider through that. And when you talk about rolling with the flow, we would never really thought about it. We come across this guy, we start talking to him. It's like, man, we need to have him on the show.
Yeah.
And I think there are other things out there. And we were talking the other day, how have we never had a painter on the show?
I mean, like, there's some things that we come across, like, how we've not done an episode about that yet.
Right.
Well, mainly because we're morons.
Or we just haven't met the right person.
We haven't met the right person yet. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But I was thinking we've talked about our foundation, and here in Houston, foundations are a huge problem.
Yeah.
And to have a foundation repair specialist, we've never had one of those on the show.
Well, we had the company that Lisa Agins referred to us about lifting houses up off the ground.
Yep.
We haven't made that episode happen yet. I know she's waiting on that one.
Yeah.
And we want to do it.
Sure.
I mean, and like honestly, like we've had. I mean, like don't get me wrong, we've had people tell us like, nah.
Sure.
Not my thing.
Right.
And it's like it's been topics that we were excited about and we want to have that person in, but like, we can't make them.
No.
We're not gonna.
Right.
There's too many people that actually really want to be on the show.
Sure.
And talk about what they do and help provide you guys with really helpful information.
Yeah.
And so like at the end of the day, I mean, like our goal is to provide value for the homeowner.
Well, I'll say this, as a homeowner and someone who feels like, okay, I'm okay diving into almost any project.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I kind of know what my limits are, but I'll try a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
If
nothing else, we could probably continue to do this show just for selfish reasons.
Sure.
Because like we genuinely do, and like a lot of people, when they get ready to come on the show, they're like, okay, so what's the format? I mean, can you guys send me the questions in advance? And we're like, no. And it's not because we don't want to be prepared.
Right.
But like Kevin and I really genuinely want to follow our curiosity with these guys.
Yeah.
And let them kind of lead us into what it is, because they know things, they just don't realize that they know things that everyone else doesn't know.
Sure.
And we kind of get to discover that through conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a little secret. Whenever a lot of people walk into this room and they say, okay, do you know what to expect? Have you listened to our show? And a lot of them haven't, which is fine. A lot of them have, but those that haven't, I'll say, well, listen, here's the thing. You're the expert. We aren't.
Right.
You know things that we don't. So we're going to ask you things that you're the expert on, and so you're going to know the answer because you're the expert. And at that point, we're just going to roll to something else that hits our brain. And so,
which is what makes it great having two people in the room.
Sure. And we've had opportunities where one of us or the other one is gone. And it's just not the same.
Yeah.
But either way,
although, and like I do want to kind of talk about some memorable moments. I think if you and I were to share some of our more memorable moments on the show, some of them might be where you or I were gone.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the first times that one of us was gone was whenever you were off the show.
Yeah.
And I showed up, and I'm like, Craig, are you here? Are you here? I mean, we had just opened the studio.
Yeah.
And it was nowhere near. I mean, we didn't
look like
have
this.
We didn't have a floor down, you know. And I was texting you. I was like, Craig, I went and knocked on your door. Craig, I'm calling you. I know you're here because your car's here.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, you're like, Kevin, you're gonna have to do this by yourself. Like, I'm sick.
I was dying.
Yeah. And so
It wasn't the Rona though.
it was other things, but that was the episode that we had. The home organization ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And to date, that's one of our most popular episodes. And so it's one of those deals where
It's number one still.
yeah, it's number one. And so it's one of those deals where a lot of things happen, and you kind of roll with it. But sometimes you make the best out of a situation. And I think that's one of the things that I hope our listeners enjoy is just the you never quite know what you're gonna get. But I also think one of the things that we've done well, like how many podcasts do you listen to where it's like, I can't, like, the audio sucks.
Yeah.
The audio sucks on this. Like, it's like,
Well, I will say this, like that's actually one of my pet peeves.
sure.
And it's not to say that like I'm judging you if you have bad, like I get it. Like if that's not something that you grasp and you're struggling with it, like if your content's good enough, I'll probably hang in there.
Yeah.
But like if the content is even like just a little bit below and the audio is down here,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, and
it really bugs my ears, but I'm pretty sensitive to that kind of stuff.
Well, I maybe I am too, but when I've got to jack up my volume in my truck to, 10 notches higher than I'm normally having it
Right.
on a good podcast, it gets to the point where it's like, man, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And so,
Because if you switch over to something else,
Oh, yeah.
it blasts you out. And like, at some point, like especially if it's a show that's been on a long time. I mean, like, you all listen to your own stuff.
yeah,
Like, and so like, just do that in your car, not because you're being conceited and you want to
Right.
listen to your own show, but to be courteous to the people who have decided to download your show, listen to your audio, and then switch over to a normal audio device like Pandora or Spotify or something, even just regular music. And if it blasts you out, adjust something.
right, fix it.
It's not hard.
No, it's not, but it's
In
a
fact,
detail.
send me an email. I'd be happy to walk you through it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I could literally fix it for you in 5 minutes.
Sure. And you don't have to have super fancy equipment.
Nope.
In fact, iMovie or Windows Media can
GarageBand.
GarageBand is fantastic. And a little bit of equipment. I mean, you can make it happen. So I do think that quality is something that we've strived for. Now have we hit it every time? There have been
moments.
There have been moments, but
Mostly with the internet.
yeah. Well, I mean, it is tough. I mean, those of you who listen to us regularly, you know that we're in the barn. we're in the Homeowner Show studio. However, the Homeowner Show studio is in the barn.
Is in the barn.
And the barn does not have its own internet source. It's coming from the house.
Right.
And now there's nothing wrong with it. It's hardwired from the house.
Yep.
But sometimes there's issues.
It's not reliable.
So we do the best we can.
Yep.
And so
Although we
far
might
it's
be having a
gone pretty
guest
well.
soon that can help us with that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about that one.
Okay.
Followed up with her today.
Cool.
So anyway.
Awesome. Well,
Which I mean, like, I think that's something worth mentioning is like we have some stuff we're excited about that's coming up.
Yeah.
And like, not just a little bit.
Right.
I mean, like, not a little bit excited, but like, not a little bit of content, like a lot of content that
Right.
we're like, I can't wait to get them in the studio.
Sure.
Like, that's going to be a cool conversation.
Yes, it is.
Like, we're working, like, one of the things I'm working on right now is getting some school officials in the studio to talk about the upcoming school year.
Man, it's stuff like that where are you going to get that information? I mean, a lot of times you're listening to someone talk.
You can either come in and talk with us about it, or we're going to talk about you.
Right. So why don't you come and just have a conversation?
Yeah.
And, you know, we're trying to find those types of things. Like, what do you want to listen to? And we value your input. So, you know, send us a message. Our email works. It's info@homeownersshow.com. Send us a message on Facebook or Instagram. Tell us, like, I'm interested in this. And I'll tell you, there have been a couple that we have said we'd really like to do something like that, and we can't make it happen.
Yeah, I think of one in particular, like a guy named, my buddy Paul sent us a message about having trash service come out and do an episode about, you know, how to dispose of specific things.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how fun it is to get in contact with those guys.
No, so I've tried. I've really tried. Like one of them is like, how do you dispose of paint?
Right.
For example, how do you recycle certain things? Well, guess what? Here in Montgomery County, how you do that is at a state-run facility. And in order to get in touch with those guys, you're literally getting in touch with a congressman. I'm not joking. And there are people that work for him who they've got to get permission before they're allowed to have conversations like this.
Right.
And so...
Which we've run into with some insurance guys, too.
Absolutely.
Like, if they work for... And, like, we have, like, guys that want to come in and talk about, you know... I'm not going to mention any specific companies because that might just get us blackballed. But, like, guys from, like, really big insurance companies that want to come in and do the show, but the higher-ups back at corporate won't let them.
Yeah.
They won't let them come in and talk about their stuff. And it's like... This is an opportunity for you to, like, talk about your products and services.
Right.
Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I guess they're afraid of liability or something.
Insurance. Come on.
Yeah, but, like, some of those things, we've just had a hard time making it happen. Doesn't mean we'll never make it happen.
No, we're going to make it happen.
We're going to make it happen
That's
eventually.
right. We're going to bully them into it.
Yes, that's right. But... either way, I mean, if you've got something, send it to us, and we will see what we can do to track it down. Yeah. And, you know, hopefully we can.
All right. So in order to keep our promise that this is going to be a shorter episode.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're rolling up on 40 minutes here.
Yeah.
Let's run through some memorable moments.
Okay.
What have been some of your biggest memorable moments?
Dude, one of them has happened recently. And that was the emu story.
We were talking about that.
We were talking about that yesterday.
You got my dad to retell it.
Well, yeah. So we were together last night and with your parents, and I mentioned it, and I actually heard a few details that I was a little fuzzy on. But man, some of that stuff, like crazy things happen at your house,
I know,
or at my house, or at other people's homes, and it's like, I enjoy hearing those types of stories and just laughing through them. You know? So, I mean, what are the chances that an emu walks into your yard and you blow its head off accidentally?
Yeah. It was an accident, y'all. Like, he feels really bad about it still.
Oh, trust me. In him talking about it last night, he had this little sheepish look on his face, like, I don't have a clue how that happened.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, what about you? Memorable moment?
Man, some of my more memorable ones, I mean, like, I don't want to, like, pick, like, a favorite episode, but I think one of the more interesting ones that we did is, and not that I was happy that you were gone.
Yeah.
But that when we had Haley Thayer co-host.
Yeah.
With Mel Stevens in the studio. That was just a fun episode.
Yeah.
To do. And not only because it was just fun to do it, and Haley was a great co-host, and I hope we get to do that again soon. Although she's fixing to be mommy, so she's probably gonna be busy for the foreseeable future.
Yep.
But she actually, her and Mel have become good friends since that episode.
What are the chances?
And have, like, actually done some stuff together outside of the Homeowners Show.
They've met.
Yeah.
Okay, Haley lives in Seattle. Mel lives in Houston.
To be fair, Mel's son lives in, I think I don't know if it's Seattle.
Close.
It's really close to where Haley lives.
But does it really matter?
No, it was just cool.
They've met.
Right.
That's kind of bizarre.
So, and I'm really hoping for that crossover Haley Thayer, Eric G episode, because when we found out that like he's in Portland, she's in Seattle, I'm like, this is close. You guys actually do business in the same area.
Yes.
You guys need to meet.
Yeah.
So I hope he did reach out to her.
Yeah, I think for me, some of the more memorable moments are these aha moments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, moments where like I hear something from our flooring specialist, you know, Adrian Rojas, who he says something. I'm like, are you serious? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Completely befuddled at that. I had no clue that was a thing. And so, but that happens, right? I mean, there's plenty of things that I don't know. That's why we bring the expert in. That's why we're doing this show, so that you have the opportunity to know some of these things. And so for me, some of these aha moments, I look back on and I'm like, man, that made me look at this
completely differently. So,
you know,
I tell you what also could be fun is if we could somehow do story time with Ricky Neal and Tanya Manley.
Oh gosh.
Like if you could like somehow make that happen.
So what we would have is a cross between swing in the bedroom and garbage disposal that turns on by raising and lowering the sprayer in your kitchen sink. That is like, comedy right there.
And like, here's the thing is like, we both know that like those are not the only stories that they have.
No chance. No chance.
That actually could be like a fun spin-off of the Homeowner Show. It's like story time with the Homeowner Show. Just like bring in some of our favorite guests, let them tell some of their worst stories.
Oh, dude. I'm afraid some of it would have to change the rating that we have on the show.
I've got one about a raccoon that would definitely change the rating of this show.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I honestly, I some of the things that I'm looking forward to, and, you know, changing from memories, things I'm looking forward to is just the opportunities that this show is going to allow us to get into the hands of our listeners. Like we've got some potentially some really cool partnerships that we're going to have to be able to say, look, we're reviewing this product and this is really legitimately how we think. And we try to do reviews. We actually haven't done a review in a while, but we try to do reviews and be real honest about them.
Yeah.
But we've even done some reviews on some things that we don't own.
Yeah.
We've never used before. We're just kind of giving you what we've done the
here's
research
the specs
on.
And here's, you know.
And we've done the research on it. And this is what we would buy if we were to go out and do it.
Yeah.
But we're going to have our hands on some stuff that I think is really going to be cool.
Yeah.
For sure.
I can tell you one of the things I've been working on is like just a little side project is a power tool review.
Yeah.
Of, you know, pluses and minuses. Like I want to do like a complete, you know, bird's eye view of all the different lines. You know, and like here's what makes this product great. Here's what maybe is not so great about this product. And like, you know, like just real quick, you know, like bullet points, you know, not to get real elaborate, but like, here's what's good about it. Here's what's bad about it. And, and here's all of them.
Sure.
And just, you know, put all that in one place on our website where people can go and, you know, and then we can update it over time. Because that's something that I think most homeowners end up investing in is, you know, at least a couple of drills, power tools and things like that they can do small projects around the home.
Yeah. And part of the hard part about that is the research.
Yeah.
Going through and trying to figure out which one is truly better than the other. Because, you know, my neighbor's going to tell me Ryobi's best. And then, you know, my friend that comes over, I see them, you know, they're using a Milwaukee. I'm like, do you like that thing? And they think it's the best thing since sliced bread. And those DeWalt people are like cultish, right?
Yeah.
And
which
even like Porter Cable people are cultish.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually owe DeWalt an apology. Oh,
yeah, you do.
Because like I was telling you about this, and we're not going to get too deep in this. Just, I mean, brief mention DeWalt. So we did the show on power tools and we reviewed, you know, several brands. Just you know, again, like a quick overview of some of the ones that we'd had on a survey that we did on Facebook. And I had said that one of the problems with DeWalt is that, while they made a really high quality product, there was just nothing that made them stand out from the other products. And then, like, that very next week, I read an article about their new battery. And I was like,
slapped you in the face.
And it's brilliant because it really solves the problem that a lot of them are trying to fix.
Yeah.
What they've done is they've created a smart battery that recognizes the difference between what it's plugged into.
Yeah.
And that battery can transition from 60 volt, which I think is bigger than just about any other battery out there.
Yeah.
As far as voltage goes.
Right.
I can't think of one that's bigger than 60 volt.
Not that I know of.
Off the top of my head. There may be one. If I find it, I'll correct myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, it can transition from 60 volt all the way down to 20 volt, depending on what it's plugged into.
Yeah. And if you remember from that episode that we did, voltage is directly correlated to power.
Right.
It's not related to how much, how long the battery lasts. That's amp hours.
Right.
But specifically with voltage, you're talking about how much power. So you're talking about the difference between 20 volts and 60 volts. So 3 times the amount of power that those people that are so ingrained into DeWalt that say they're the best thing ever, they've been getting 20 volts out of their batteries for a long, long time. To jump that up to a 60 volt, the amount of power you get out of that you can put in a chainsaw, you can put into, a weed trimmer and different things like that. Like, that's awesome.
And to make it interchangeable with all their tools.
That's the thing.
It's brilliant. Now, I mean, like, there's a couple of downsides that we won't get into, but like, it's just really, really smart. I mean,
well, and so that's part of our point here in making some of these things known to you. Mm-hmm. You have a better opportunity to go out there and go, okay, do I want a DeWalt? Do I want a Milwaukee? Do I want a Ryobi? Do I want a Porter Cable?
Yeah.
What, Black & Decker from Walmart? What do I want? I mean, and how do I know what's better than the other? Because at the end of the day, some of you may need that flex battery,
right,
for what you're doing. Some of you don't.
Yeah.
Well,
and let me say this also. So they have a 60 volt flex 20 volt with a 12 amp hour battery. That battery, the cheapest I've seen it I think is $249.
$249 is probably a good price too, because we heard from someone just the other day that said that thing would last how long?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, and he said he's using it.
And that was on his drill.
Sure, but he's using that thing every day.
And these are guys that, if I remember right, these were the guys that were renovating apartment complexes.
Yeah. I mean, they're not doing this on a semi-daily basis. Right. They're doing it on a daily basis using that thing.
That's incredible.
It's absolutely incredible. So, listen, we hope that you are enjoying the content that we're putting out. It's been 100 episodes. Many of you have been with us from the beginning. I think of some of my buddies that have kind of stuck with us from the beginning. Thank you guys. And those of you who are new to the show, man, we thank you for joining us, and hopefully it's going to be a good journey for you. We've got a lot of stuff on the horizon, so stick with us. Hang on to your seats, because every week we're putting out new stuff, and it's going to be good.
Yep. So I guess it's time for the moment that everyone has been waiting for with bated breath.
It is.
Who's going to win the $100?
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. There's a lot of ways that you can generate numbers. You can put them in a hat and draw it out. But we thought, okay, someone's going to say, oh, you did something wrong, right? So random.org.
I'm over here, and Kevin's over there.
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, so
so we can't. All that to say, you can't see what I can see.
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm on random.org, and a lot of these places online will give you a random generator, and there is kind of a mathematical formula that they put into this. Supposedly, random.org is different, and it doesn't have any sort of mathematical thing. It is literally a random generator. Okay,
I don't know how you produce randomness, but cool. We should ask Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park.
Well, it tells you on here. So if you go to random.org, you can read about it. But here's what I'm going to do. In real time, this is happening right now. We've not done this before. I'm going to generate a number based on the number of people that we know have subscribed to our YouTube channel.
Yep.
So I'm going to press that number right now, and Our result number is 10. Who has number 10?
All right. And the winner is Daniel Dupoy.
All right, Daniel Dupoy. Congratulations on a $100.
Yeah, Daniel, if you can, send us an email over to info@homeownersshow.com, or you can send us a message on Facebook. We just want to confirm that it's you.
Yeah.
And where to send your prize.
Yes, we will get that over to you this week. So
thank you to everyone that subscribed. It was a great contest.
Yeah, we're probably going to do something like this again. This is probably not the last time that we do something like this, mainly because we want to thank you for listening and give you something hopefully to be excited about at the same
Absolutely.
time.
So keep up the good work out there sharing folks of the internet.
Yeah, and to that end, if you have not already, please call to action for a moment. Go subscribe to our podcast on anything that you're currently listening to. Click the subscribe button. Go to the YouTube channel. Subscribe there. There's actually a link in the show notes to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go over there. Click the bell. That way you get notified.
Notified?
Thank
you, GW.
Yeah, we are creating new words tonight.
And it's not me. I didn't do it this time.
It's we're surprising everyone tonight. But so that way you get notified anytime we got new content up on the channel. So yeah, thanks sticking with us for 100 episodes.
100 episodes, y'all. Thank you.
We got 100 more coming.
Yep.
So, well, cool, man. We're done for tonight. So
awesome. Congratulations, Daniel. Good luck to everyone next time.
That's right. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, we'll see you later.
See you.